So, would you like to see a nice, clean bus and all the hard work, as well as kind of like a tour of what we've done with the bus since we've gotten it? Come on. Good morning. How are you today? I'm doing pretty good. We landed yesterday in our spot. We have this spot for 2 weeks, which is really nice to be able to kind of chill for 2 weeks, relax, not move. I like staying about 2 weeks in an area because it gives you time to kind of explore it, and then we're getting antsy. We're ready to go. However, the bus kind of gets messy on travel days, and the kids got out of school, and so we're transitioning for the summer. Lots of transitioning happens. Are you in a transition or have a transition happening soon? It's one of those seasons where you feel ungrounded for a little bit, and you got to find your balance, and then you're good, and then the next transition happens, and then you're not good anymore. That's where we are. We're in this transition, and I gotta get this bus tidy and clean. I much prefer to do it myself. The kids have chores every night. Each of us have a chore that we do. And so I much prefer to just deep clean the bus myself. It's cathartic for me. It's relaxing. Yes, I could get all the kids up and Kyle and give them a job and a chore, and they're going to be miserable doing it. So cleaning, like deep cleaning the bus from back to front, is something that I find a lot of joy in, actually. And it only takes me a couple hours. I mean, it might take me a little bit longer, but it gives me time to nurture my home. I also did not do the dishes last night. That is my chore. I did some of them, and then Kyle asked me if I could help walk the dogs, and I was like, yeah, sure. So then dishes kind of got pushed to the wayside, and sometimes that happens because such is life, right? I do need to plug up the vacuum. So one thing that I wish was a little different in this cabinet is our vacuum situation. I do wish there was a plug in here so that I could plug it in. That's just not the case. Take a look. Yeah, we've got this. I mean, a really big area in here, right? And then we've got some stuff up here on the shelves. Oh, there's that alcohol. I was looking for that the other day. But I've got to plug this in. So what I do is there's a wall outlet right here. So when I get to start cleaning, I plug this up. This can go in here. I'd love to get one of those things, that you hang things up here. But I just plug it right there. And here's the deal, like with this bus being unfinished, there's things that were supposed to be done and not done. So that means it's just much more difficult for us to kind of find places to put things. It was a hard time. So for those of you that don't know, we paid a friend who we thought was a friend to remodel this bus. Our first bus, Blue Betty, we did ourselves the first 3 remodels of her. And then we had this friend do the 4th remodel on Blue Betty. That friend did an amazing job, like fantastic in the timeline, in the budget, was incredible. So at that time, my partner Kyle was like, when I get a new bus, I want you to do it. That friend at the time was like, absolutely, I would love to do that for you. So finally, 2 years later, like the plan was we were always gonna need another bus because Blue Betty was 40 feet, much smaller. And with the kids growing, we always wanted to have their needs in mind. And that was the plan, to get a new bus when the time was right. So you save up enough money. We sold a business that we had, the rental properties, and we used a good chunk of that money to build our next bus. Yeah, that did not pan out as well as we thought that it would. Right? Like how many of you have had plans for something, set out to make something amazing, and then it absolutely did not go as you planned. So here we are, we drop our bus off in January of 24. January of 24, we drop our bus off to the builder in Tucson. Kyle and I drive out there. We make the trek, me and him. Kyle's parents graciously keep the kids so that we could have this little excursion. Take the bus there. They say, okay, give us a wish list of absolutely every single thing you want in the bus. Not that we can do it all, but that way we see what your wants are. Okay, cool. So we brought them a wish list that was insanely long because we're like, well, we're not going to get it all, but we could get some of it, right? So we leave the bus. We give him a substantial deposit. I'm talking like $70,000 as a deposit because we agree that we have $100,000 to spend on this bus. So, oh yeah, no problem. That's great. We can make this happen. Cool. So as it turns out, the builder didn't get started working on the bus until late March. So he dropped it off in January, didn't get started until late March. So we're like, okay, no big deal. Things happen. They had bought like this house that they're turning into like a studio Airbnb with a bus garage there where he can work on buses and build buses. Our bus was going to be like his showpiece, that piece that was phenomenal, so that we could go out, we could go to shows, we could talk about the bus, we could show the bus, and we're paying full price. No, there was no discounts or anything. So he doesn't get started until March. And he's sending us, some pictures of like taking it out, taking all the things out and working on stuff. And in May, beginning of May, we make a trip. We just bought our property in New Mexico. We make a trip in our camper van down to Tucson to check out the progress of the bus. And it's like completely gutted on the inside, right? And we need to decide on a layout. And I knew, because I've been in a lot of school buses, I've been in a lot of self-converted rigs. They're freaking creative. Like, oh my gosh, so creative. And I wanted a side hallway. I said, it's non-negotiable. I want a side hallway. This is a bigger bus. We have to have it. And everything that we wanted, I've seen done before. I've seen it done. And it was a fight, unless it was like what they wanted to do, what was in their wheelhouse. Like they didn't want to do what we wanted. And finally, they were able to do the layout to where it looked like a side hallway. It has this little bump out. Well, we're down there in May, and he's saying, I'm going to need another draw again soon, to be able to start the inside and all the things. Okay, cool. Kyle sends him another draw. I forget how much it was for. So then our plan, right, when we dropped it off, we wanted this bus to be done at the end of September because we were going to the balloon fiesta. That was very much outlined. Hey, we want this bus done by the end of September because we want to show it there because it has got a deck on top and all the things, right? Kyle reaches out mid-September and is like, hey, when's the bus going to be ready? Can we arrange, when can we arrange pickup, all those things. Well, our builder says then, oh yeah, you know what? It's not going to be ready by the balloon fiesta, and we're going to have to, it's going to be a couple weeks after the balloon fiesta. Mid-October. It was going to be mid-October. Okay, fine. We can handle mid-October, not the end of the world. We'll just take Blue Betty down to the balloon fiesta. So while we're at the balloon fiesta, we get a text saying, hey, I need one final draw of $18,000. And this is it. The 3 to 4 weeks, the bus will be done. You can come get it, mid-November. Okay, no problem, because we had stayed the whole summer on our property. We traveled a little bit, but we stayed the whole summer because really we're Blue Betty, she's getting old, and we were just kind of ready to stay put for a minute. So here comes November 1st. Kyle reaches out, hey, when is everything going to be done? And the builder's like, well, I need you to bring your batteries down here. And we're like, okay, are lithium batteries. And what you have to understand is when these lithium batteries come out of the bus, we can no longer boondock. We cannot go out and camp. We cannot go travel. And our property in New Mexico is up at elevation in the mountains. And they get 85 inches of snow per year. So we did not want to find out what getting snow is going to be like in our bus, because we've done it before. It is not fun. It is not fun. He says, you know what? I've got to have the batteries down here. It will be done by December 1st. So Kyle makes the choice to take a 12-day trip, right? Load the batteries into our camper van. Our bus is plugged up on our property. Me and the kids stay there. He goes and delivers the batteries. When he gets there, the builder's like, man, you know, I'm going to need more money. I'm going to need more money. And Kyle's like, I don't have it. I don't have the money to give you. That was it. I sent you that. You said it was going to be ready in 3 to 4 weeks. I don't have anything else to give you. So the builder's like, okay, I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get it done. So Kyle says, well, I can stay here. I can help you. I can be your runner. Like, I can camp in the van. And Kyle got like this very weird vibe. Like that was not going to be okay. And the builder's like, no, it's fine. You know, I really don't have a whole lot for you to do. I'm just going to do it. Okay, so Kyle leaves. And the builder says, by December 1st, I'll have this bus done for you. Okay, well, at the end of November, guess what happens? There is an insane snowstorm, blizzard that comes through. And this blizzard drops almost 3 feet of snow on us. So we're telling him, hey, you know, it's cold. There's more snow on the way. When is this bus going to be ready? Okay, I'm going to have it done. I'm going to have it done before Christmas. I'll have it done before Christmas. Okay, so mid-December, I send the builder a text because there's more snow on the way. We've got to figure out what we're doing. Blue Betty cannot travel. And the builder gets very agitated that I'm asking what's going on. And what the builder does is sends us an email. And the builder's wife comprised this email. And the builder's wife, and I guess him together collectively say, well, you have 2 options. You can either continue to pay us. They wanted $12,000 a month to build the bus. You can pay us pretty much with an open checkbook. We don't have a date. It'll be finished. You cannot make any changes whatsoever to anything that we do. And maybe it'll be done by February. And we're like, what? And the second option is you have to come pick up your bus. So we decided that we'll come pick up our bus. And we did. I don't think they were expecting us to pick up our bus. I honestly think they were using us as a way to get cash into their failing property. And they used us. They did. They absolutely used us. Knowing what I know now, that's what they did. So what did we do? Right? So we've got our bus on our property and we can't stay there because the snow's coming in. And Kyle, our original plan, right, because we were going to go down to the desert, our original plan was we're going to drive Blue Betty and our Jeep and our van, and we were going to go set up Blue Betty in the desert. Kyle was going to drive back with the Jeep to Tucson, pick up Daisy, and bring Daisy to where we were camped at. And we would sell Blue Betty once we got Daisy finished. Well, Kyle was inspecting Blue Betty, like trip inspection, a couple days before we were ready to leave. And there were so many busted water lines because of the freeze. There were honestly so many problems that Kyle would have had to fix while we were down there. Like he wouldn't have even gotten to work on Daisy. And so we decided it wasn't feasible to bring her down there. So we decide the next course of action is we really didn't know how finished the bus was, Daisy, but we figured he's had it since January. Like we've given him $128,000 at this point. It has to be moderately finished, right? So we load everything up in a U-Haul. The trailer, U-Haul trailer. We load our 3 kids, our 4 dogs up into the Jeep Cherokee. And we head down to Tucson. We get there to pick up our bus. And I walk in, and let me tell you, I was so disheartened when I walked in here. There was subfloors, there was plywood floors, there was no running water, no kitchen sink, no shower. The toilet was not even attached to the floor. We didn't know if it worked. And I just walk in and I'm like, what are we gonna do? We have no other option at this point. So before we had come down, there was $8,000 left in the account. He was saying he needed more money, but there was $8,000 left and that wasn't enough. So I had said, okay, well, now that we have to build our own bus, I want that money back. And we did not have a contract. You know, Kyle thought that that was his friend and we didn't have a contract before. And red flags, right? We know better. We do better. So there's really not much to stand on. They said, no, we're keeping $4,000 and we'll give you half back. Okay, fine. I just need some money to survive because now we've drained our entire savings. We haven't been able to work because we had our YouTube channel, had brand deals lined up to be able to do, couldn't do those, lost out on income, right? And so we've got to take whatever we can. And this is what they did that was so sneaky and it just shows who they are as people. They handed me, his wife didn't even come out, it was just him, handed me an envelope and we look in it and it has the check up front. Okay. I don't think to take everything out, right? So we grab the bus, we get our $4,200, $4,300 check, and we leave. Take our bus, we leave. I didn't say more than 2 words to them. And when we get to Quartzsite, it took us 2 days to get there. Get to Quartzsite, I take the check out, and there's a paper stuffed behind it, strategically folded and stuffed behind it, so you wouldn't know what it was. And on this letter, they decided to write, if you cash this check, you are saying that all services have been completed on Daisy B, and you cannot make a video, you cannot slander us, you cannot say anything in any way, shape, or form. Right? They sneakily snuck that in there. And at this point, like, we had no other choice. We had to cash that check. Like, we had to. And just in seeing that, I'm like, that's the type of people that these people are. And I'm so sad that we didn't see it beforehand. And, you know, there's a lot of red flags that I wish that I would have said more, right? But I wanted to trust Kyle because that's his friend. And this is the bus. Kyle wanted this bus so bad. He really wanted a new bus to step into, turnkey, where he didn't have to work on anything. And that is not what we got. We got a half-finished bus where the builder absolutely tried to milk everything that we were worth. And they did. And then they put a letter in there that I found after the fact that's like trying to bind us into this contract. We made a video. We absolutely made a video because on our family channel, or Being Buffoons, that has since we decided to close that chapter of our life. But in Being Buffoons, we made a video because our people had been with us through this whole bus build, through this whole thing of waiting for this new bus. We can't wait to see Daisy. We can't wait to see Daisy. You know, we talked about it all the time to all the people. Yes, our bus builder is awesome. We cannot wait till you get to see this bus. So yeah, we made a video. And to this day, I will not shout their name out. I will not slander them in that way. But I will speak my truth that this was a very, very awful experience. And them putting that letter in there, trying to like pigeonhole us into not being able to say anything, was so shady and so sneaky and just plain freaking wrong. Like it was just wrong to do that. That's not what we agreed on. Honestly, we should have gotten all the money back. That builder paid himself $74,000 in labor, and the rest supposedly went to parts in the bus. And let me tell you, the parts in the bus that they used, they bought the cheapest stuff possible with that money. So really, there's probably more money that they pocketed. And it was just a really, really hard thing to navigate. I mean, Kyle, that was his friend. And Kyle doesn't really get close with a lot of people. It's hard for him to get close with people. He doesn't have a lot of friends. And the distrust and the betrayal of what they did to us was awful. And that took a lot to recover from. Like, even now, Kyle doesn't want to build this bus. It's a struggle for him to try and build this thing because he doesn't, that's not what he paid for. That's not what he wants to do. And so he's just wrestling with finding the energy, the time, the money, right? Because all of our savings was gone, wiped out. We thought that we would have a bus. We could get back to making content, making videos. No, that's not the case. And then once we got down to Arizona and we're sitting in this bus and we're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? How are we going to finish this? It was so shocking and so awful and a lot that we had to recover from. We get notified of this post on social media after we make our video. And our video, I'll link it in the description, does not say their name, does not slander them. It literally just tells our people what happened because our people deserve to know. And this post comes out and a few people message me, and it's this post about our deck. They made a post about our deck and they broke down the cost of everything. And I think something important you should know is that we never had a sheet broken down by cost. Like, the most formal email we got or correspondence with them was when his wife wrote the email at the end. Him and Kyle had been talking the entire time, relaying texts back and forth. That was like the first official email when we were like, no, we're not sending more money. You said the bus was going to be done. So this post that we see is them explaining the cost of the deck, our deck up top, right? The deck, mind you, does not have a way to get up it. There's no ladder that they left us with. And the hatch is unfinished, which the hatch broke off because it's not finished. So there's no way to get up to it. So the deck, yes, it is workable and done. They had this breakdown. The total deck, they said, was $26,000. $26,000 for this deck. That's where they're pricing it out. And that was the only thing that they could kind of show price for because that was the only thing completed. Nothing else in this bus was 100% done. Everything was left with loose ends in it. So it was a $6,000 engineering fee, $6,000 design fee. So they said they had a crane that they rented for a $1,500 crane rental fee. But I remember seeing a post where they used their tractor and their neighbor to help get the deck up on top of the bus. And it's hard. It's hard to see that when you know that that's not true, that we've never seen these numbers whatsoever. So they were just trying to backpedal and make it seem like they did more than they actually did. And when your bus was promised to be done by September, and you're sitting in the end of November, middle of December, and there's no finished bus, and there's no prospect of a finished bus, we just keep getting strung along. And finally, when we said, no, like, we want our bus, that's when they got very hostile and defensive. And we're pretty easygoing people. Like, we go with the flow. You know what? If you're sick, if you have setbacks, 100%, we understand it. The mental toll. Oh my gosh, the mental toll this took on Kyle and me, our marriage, everything was so much, so much. I have been out here 3 times to grab this little cup of coffee that Kyle made me as he's leaving to go to work. And do you ever do that? Do you ever either make your coffee or heat your coffee up and then you get distracted because you get something else going on? And all the things, right? If you're a mama and you stay at home and you work and you do all the things, you know the struggle. So grateful. Let me give Ben a little privacy. He's on his game. So this shower, I want to talk about like this bathroom right here had the toilet and a like very basic frame out for the shower. Oh my gosh. Like when we got into it, we had really no running water. There was no sink. There was not a lot of things in here for habitability. And we're thinking, okay, you've had the bus. We haven't seen it since it was like personally seen it since we went in May when everything was torn out. And so we thought for sure, like we hadn't gotten any updated pictures, nothing for a while. There wasn't any videos they were putting out online. So literally, we didn't know it, but nothing was being done to the bus. Like there would be one small portion of a project that was finished and then that was like recorded. But yeah, there wasn't much progress made between September and when we picked the bus up. It was pretty much similar. So when we're in here, we've got this shower situation. We had to go to the laundromat. We had to schlep to the laundromat, and they offered showers there when we were in Arizona, so a couple times a week. Whole family would make our way up to the laundromat and get our shower. They had $11 showers, and this was, you know, between when we're trying to build our shower. And there was one day that Kyle turns to me and he goes, Jen, I need you to take the lead on this bus and getting projects done, because he's like, I can't. I just mentally can't. He was spent. He was completely spent. And this threw him for such a wild, wild ride. And so here I am. My husband is not doing well because his so-called friend just left him with a completely half-finished bus and took all the money. And he's having to build something he didn't intend to build. And so I'm like, okay, I guess so. And, you know, we started to work on the shower. He built the wall and built the frame out, and we get to tiling it. And he gets in there and he has the piece in his hand and he's trying to stick it up there. He's like, I just don't want to do this. I can't do this. Here, I need you to try. So I'm like, okay. So I grabbed the tile and mortared and then tiled and mortared and tiled and mortared, and little by little, you know, we're working together. Like I would measure the piece, he would go outside, he would cut the piece for me. And like this project was the first project that him and I have just worked on so beautifully. Like we worked together, our communication was great, and it was such a turning point in our couple and in our marriage. And, you know, we get the shower tiled and finished and ready to go. And that was one of those moments where you sit back and you're like, dang, I did that. Okay, we got this done. And so once we got the shower done, we could shower in the bus. And in the interim, like we're doing little projects. Like I wanted to paint, and I wanted to make sure that I started painting and getting wallpaper up, and just really doing small things to make a big impact on the bus. And so as we went through the winter, we were able to tackle small projects, you know, but we're on a shoestring budget. Kyle's doing Uber and he's having to drive 2 hours to Phoenix to be able to go to work. And then, it was really hard because in the interim, we decided to stop our YouTube channel that we had for 5 years, being Bethunes, and it was Red, White, and Bethune before that. But we felt like that season needed to come to a close. It needed to be finished. That channel did what it was supposed to do. So because we're dealing with the bus issue, right, we're not feeling confident, we're not feeling great. We have a half-finished bus that we expected to be finished, and we're just chugging along, making projects happen little by little. And it's like, I look back and I'm like, wow, those were some tough days. Those were tough days, but we just kept choosing the next right thing. You know, we had to really work through things without our therapist because we're in a place where we can't really afford to pay our therapist. And so that meant that we had to do all of this on our own. Mentally, physically, spiritually. Like, can you Can you think back to a time when you were really going through it? You know, whether it be losing a loved one or losing your house or going through a divorce or a bankruptcy, losing your best friend, animal, pet, insert your trauma, your experience there. And I'm sure that was tough. And looking back, you just had to take it day by day, right? So that's all we did. We took everything day by day, moment by moment, and I think we're finally seeing the light and seeing through the struggle. Because even now we're still in the struggle. We still have a very unfinished bus, and we're not really going to be able to do much to it until we get down to Florida in the winter. We're going to go to Kyle's parents, and they have a wood shop there and space to work on it. That's another thing. Trying to do this bus while living on the road is very difficult because a lot of campgrounds, they don't allow you to work on your bus there. And we were trying to build it out in the middle of the desert with no power, or we had solar power, but we're not plugged into anything. We had to go get our water. We had to go dump our tanks. It was very primitive in every sense of the word because we had no other choice. Even if we wanted to go get a house and go settle down, we didn't have money for that, and we didn't want to. We don't want to be tied down to a house. We don't want to have those kind of roots where you sit for a lot of the year. We thoroughly enjoy doing what we're doing, and sometimes it's difficult to do what we do. And so we've had to learn to pivot a whole lot. So if you're going through something right now, something big and what feels so catastrophic and awful, you're not alone. It takes a toll on you mentally, physically, spiritually. It makes you question everything in life and your choices and what you're doing and how you got here and how you're going to move forward. You're not alone. And you know what? You've made it through every other experience like that you've had. Chances are you're going to make it through this one too. I can promise you, you are doing great. You're doing your best every single day. We all are. I love, I will say, having a small space because it's so much less to clean. We had, our biggest house was 3,300 square feet. And this one is so much less effort to clean and keep clean. Just a little bit of time, an hour or two, and you can have this thing scrubbed from top to bottom. In our old house, oh my gosh, it was 3,300 square feet, and it was just massive. It had upstairs. Ugh, lots of stuff gets under here. It had upstairs. It had downstairs. It was just huge. Every bedroom had a bathroom attached. We had 5 bathrooms in that house. It was a beautiful Victorian dollhouse. I loved it. It was just such a big thing to have to clean, and eventually we had to hire a cleaning lady to help because it was just so big. Yay, my vacuum is done, but I really would like the dustpan. Living in a tiny space, I love so much more just because it's not as much electric, it's not as much to cool, it's just not as much stuff to worry about, not as much space to fill. Oh my goodness, tell me if this is you. In our old house, I swear Amazon would come every single day because it just made it so easy to get packages and stuff. And that was another problem in the desert this winter when we're building half-finished bus, is that to get to a Home Depot, we were an hour and a half away, right? We can't afford to go pay and stay at a campground. We're staying, it was $180 for 6 months. And that includes dumping your trash, that includes water, and you're camping on the land. And that's what we had to do. We tried to explore other options and nothing was panning out. And so you just do what you have to do, right? So we just did it. We knew that it wasn't going to last forever. It was just a season. And the more projects we were able to finish, like we could only buy one project's worth of stuff at a time. And we needed to get the key essentials in. So a floor was one of them. And I was like, Kyle, we've really got to get this floor done. I don't want to live on plywood anymore. There's a lot of things I can do, but I don't want to live on plywood. And so he was like, I will take you to the store, but I have no interest in building this floor. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I need to do it because I need to get this place into a home, or more into a home. So we went to Floor and Decor, drove into Phoenix, and like it's tough for me to drive that far. So that took a little bit of preparing to be able to go into Phoenix. Go into Phoenix, get the floor stuff, get home, and I'm like, all right, we are tackling this thing. Kevers. Hello, Kevers. And after 3 days, we had the floor done. I was in here measuring and gluing, and then Kyle was outside doing all of the cuts. So like, again, we worked really, really well together. Like, it was a project that we did great on. With each project that we're doing in the bus, our communication skills are getting even better. Like, what? How is that real life? And it's just, through the whole winter, we had to work together to make this happen. Like, we didn't have anybody else to rely on. Like, all of our families in Florida. And yeah, we could have went to Florida. I had this knowing that we didn't need to go there. I follow my knowing a lot. I've gotten to know my knowing, and it's not gonna lead me wrong, because I know my knowing isn't doing things for egoic reasons. My knowing is doing it because, no, this feels okay. This doesn't feel okay. This feels all right. Like, I listen to that. That has been key in healing so much crap and being able to work with my PTSD and learn my emotional alchemy and really transforming my life. Because I mean, that's kind of what we did. If you look at our videos that we posted a few years ago when we first started out, they're so very different than now. And it's been like, if I wouldn't have had this life and we wouldn't have gotten our bus back half finished, we never would have learned so much stuff. We wouldn't have grown as close as we have, me and Kyle. Like, we've really hit a point in our couple where we're like, okay, this feels good. Like, we made it past a whole bunch of stuff and we're still here together, and each one of us is learning and growing with each other. And it's not about, our egos coming in and saying, oh, well, you did this to me or you did that to me. It's about being able to come to my partner and being like, hey, this made me feel this way. Can we talk about it? And he can come to me and say, hey, this made me feel this way. Can we talk about that? It's just being able to not take things on as ours, the other person's trauma, the other person's trigger, taking that on, feeling like we have to bear the burden of that, because we don't. My triggers are mine to carry, and I am ultimately responsible for diffusing them and not taking my trauma out on other people. And my family and my partner, and I deserve my family and my partner to give me the love and care that I give to them. And so it's just reciprocal. And it took me coming outside of myself, learning how to do all these things, being able to lead a project. Like, I led the tiling, I led the floor, and that's not to say Kyle doesn't do amazing on projects. It's just that it gave me the opportunity to see that I could lead, that my voice does have value, that my opinion matters. And so if we allow it to, our experiences can teach us so much about life and about growth and about evolving into who we're meant to be. We just have to reframe that struggle. Like, we had to reframe this bus build struggle into a lesson. And I believe you me, we will never do anything without a contract again. And we've just taken little nuggets like that and like, okay, cool. Yeah, we're not going to do that again. When we know better, we choose better. We're not going to carry the shame of, oh, we should have known this and we should have known that. Hindsight is 2020. And yeah, we can look back and see so many things like, oh, we could have done this and we could have done that. But in that moment, we were doing the best we could with what we have. And we used that moment to grow. And that's kind of what the whole bus build was. We used it to grow. Cleaning out the fridge, organizing all the things, all the things, all the things, all the things. Hello, Theodore. How are you, sir? How you doing, Jeffy? Oh my goodness, all the things. Yeah. Oh, there's a new RV coming in. Oh, I need to find a place to put the paper towels to BBs. Bose sink up front. Oh, huh. That goes in here? Heck yes, it does. Oh, that's awesome. I found our sink tips up out here. There's a lot of things that we're still finding in places, but our sink thing goes in here and then it just tips up in. Huh. That is pretty nifty. I'm gonna set this under here for a future us to deal with, but at least we know where it's at. I don't know about you, but after I get something nice and organized, I like to stare at it for a second. I just like to look and admire that hard work. So, would you like to see a nice, clean bus and all the hard work, as well as kind of like a tour of what we've done with the bus since we've gotten it? Come on. So all of this was taken off on the sides, so we have to find a material to put back on here. And our door lock that they put in doesn't really work. It locks the door. You have to continuously push it in if you want to shut it, because it had to be like retrofitted. So that's one thing we definitely have to work on. Kyle built the shelf. Hang on, it's our entryway. There's the puppies on the couch. But this is the shelf that Kyle built in New Mexico. I thought he did an amazing job. I had this vision for a 70s shelf, and I think he absolutely brought it to life. He did so good. The dog food even has cutouts at the bottom, so it stays right there. Eventually, we want to get a chair in here, but Kyle put all of this in our desk. We've got our sweet little bookshelf there. He even ducted the AC. And then we've got a little lip around our shelf. Shortly after we moved in, I painted the cabinets. I'm not super thrilled with how the paint held up though. It didn't hold up as good as I really wanted it to. And but that's okay. We're gonna touch it up once we go through and get all the things in here. We'll touch it up. It did not have a couch here, and so the couch was under the bay. They bought the couch on Amazon. It was like a couple $100 for the couch. One of our requests were that we want a super comfortable couch, and unfortunately, this one is not exactly that. And that's all right, but we're living with it for now until we can upgrade it, replace it. And it is what it is. Kyle did bolt it to the ground. We need to put the face on the front of it. We also have to finish our roof, our ceiling, put lights up there. The wires are ran already, so we just need to put the lights. But we will need to frame in these windows over here. There wasn't a top to this when we first got it, so we put the top in. The builder did do an amazing job on the cabinetry. The cabinetry looks great. These weren't finished. We have to make the doors for the front of them, plus install the middle things. I did do wallpaper. The cabinets and wallpaper was one of the first things I did because I wanted it to feel homey. I wanted to give it like a cozy feel, and I think it did that with our floors. These are those floors we installed. I love them. We got them at Floor and Decor. They were pricey, but oh my goodness, I think they turned out really well. This is our fridge. Yes, the paper is still on there. Paper is going to stay on there until we finish the last thing in this bus. And then you and I promise we are going to deal with that paper and take it off. Coming back, we have a really big pantry. We've got a huge pantry in here. All of these, that's where we store our broom stuff. This is just a little bit of the thing, but that's really good size. This was already done. Super grateful for that. We've got more wallpaper, kids' bunk area. This is Eli's little workspace and drawing space. We got all of the cabinets and drawers. That's our closet right here. I'm going to have to organize this thing. It's a slight hot mess. Molly has her own vanity with her window up here. Then she has her cabinets. This fell off. The builder had constructed this, and it was up here, but that ended up falling off, and so we're gonna have to fix that. But coming in the bathroom, the sink wasn't here, so Kyle had to run the sink. He had to put in the mirror. We had to install the light fixture. The shower, we tiled the whole shower and built the walls, and it turned out really, really pretty. We have the floor that when it gets wet, it kind of changes colors. Kevin's doing downward dog. Doing some downward dog. On the floor, we ended up putting peel and stick tile down here to see if we in fact like it, and it's been good so far. We do. Oh my gosh, I appreciate your allergy advice. I've been taking the non-drowsy Zyrtec, and it's okay, but I'm still having allergies throughout the day, so doing our best. Down here by this wall, we've got to frame that in. We just didn't get enough time to cut the wood and everything. Same with up here. We have to frame that in too. But in the interim, I got this on Amazon. It's a great little thingamabob here, and it stores a bunch of stuff. It doesn't stay closed as well, though. And then this is our room. We don't have lights in here. It's dark because the ceiling's not in, and we got some reflectix over there. But this is mine and Kyle's bunk. This is a queen size bed, and so we've got a queen size bunk for the two of us. That's our projector. We pull that down at night, and our projector is up in this cabinet, so we prop the door open and it shines down on our screen, and we're able to watch TV. This is the dog space down here. It's a huge kennel. They've got a really big space in there. We don't have a door on the front of it yet. The door that we've been using, this baby gate, it's against the wall and stuck up there so I don't fall on them. But we bring it out and then we put it here when we need it. And it's really just the boys that go up if we're not here, because they tend to be a little mischievous. 9 times out of 10 though, somebody's usually always home. So the dogs kind of never really have to go in there unless it's Thursday. We do adventure day on Thursday, and so we're all gone, and so the dogs do need to be up. But we got a nice clean bus. Oh my goodness, I love having a clean space where the floors are clean, the kitchen is clean, everything's clean, huh, puppers? Yeah. Thank you for hanging out with me today and hearing the story of our bus build gone very, very wrong. What a journey that has been, but quite honestly, some of the lessons I learned in that are invaluable. Like, they just really are. Going through that struggle, seeing that struggle as a lesson helped me to get where I am with mentally, because that's a lot to feel betrayed, to have a half-finished bus, to have to move your family into this, and so many things snowballed on top of the other. So for us to be coming through this stronger and more connected as individuals, as a couple, as a family, like, I think that's a win. We needed this to happen to be able to see the red flags, to be able to learn who to say yes to, what to say yes to, and when to advocate for yourself when something doesn't feel right. So yeah, not too bad. Well, thank you again. I love the time that we get to spend together and hang out, and it really does mean the world to me. Have a safe trip home. Thank you for being here and being you. I love you. Oh, delicious girls. Delicious girls. Yeah, delicious girls. Yeah.